Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome back to another episode of Drink Driving, the Alcoholic Driving Podcast. I know at the end of the last episode I said the next episode will be about Dark Souls. A completely different subject to what we're doing now. But the co-host for that episode is having some internet issues, and since he lives on the other side of the world, it's kind of difficult to record. So today we are going to be discussing Animal Crossing New Horizons. I thought about doing an episode on this. I came up with the idea for this episode like a day ago, and then I realised that it's literally exactly 3 months after the game is released when I release this episode. So I thought, why not do that? Why not discuss my experiences with the game, how I feel about the game 3 months after it's come out. I should also point out that I've bought myself a new truck, which I've given some stylish decals. Fuck, I haven't even drank yet, and I'm already loopy. We're not going to be doing any special alcohol this episode, but today's fuel is Thatcher's Haze, which is one of my favourites, so no special reviews going on. We're just going to jump straight in. I should also mention that I did some testing. So we're already sort of partway through. We've already started a journey, annoyingly. But anyway. Oh, fuck. Why do I always struggle with these goddamn cans? It's because I have no nails. Because I'm an anxious nail biter. There we go. Don't know if you heard that, but... There we go. Lovely. Beautiful. So, on we go. Onward journey. So, it has been exactly 3 months since Animal Crossing New Horizons came out, a game that I had very much high expectations for, being a fan of the series since I think it was Wild World on the DS. I sunk a lot of time into Wild World. I sunk a lot of time into City Folk for the Wii. I also sunk a lot of time into New Leaf for the 3DS when it came out. Never played the GameCube version. Never had a GameCube when I was young, unfortunately. Veering off slightly. So yeah, in the build up to the release I was very excited. We hadn't had a new Animal Crossing in so long, especially not for the Wii U, which was devastating. And I've been a fan of the series. I really enjoy City Folk. I really enjoyed New Leaf. Really enjoyed fuck me. Really, oh god. Really enjoyed Wild World. Really enjoyed City Folk. Anyway, I'm repeating myself constantly. I don't know why. I apologise. So yeah, I was very eagerly awaiting the release of this game. From the moment it was announced, I was like, oh shit, they're doing a new Animal Crossing. I'm going to get this day one. And then we got the delay, which was unfortunate. But, you know, it happens. And then it finally came out on March 20th, I think it was. I got the physical version. So it arrived in the post. Popped it in, started playing. Instantly fell in love with the game, honestly. Just the visuals are stunning. It's still Animal Crossing at its core, which is great. You know, it's a nice relaxing game. Just to start with, it's a nice relaxing game that you can just pop into your Switch and just have a nice time. Just doing a bit of fishing, doing a bit of landscaping, meeting your neighbours, and so on. But after a while, it sort of started. There's a sort of nagging feeling that started settling in, and I mean, unfortunately, I just kind of got bored, very worryingly quickly. Like I've sunk several hundred hours into Wild World. Not exactly similar amount of time, but an almost equal amount of time into Let's Go to the City. not as much in New Leaf, and then in this game, I looked at the playtime recently, and it says I've only done 60 hours. So in 3 months, I've only played 60 hours of this game. Whereas I've seen, like my sister, for example, she has over 300 hours in it. She's just fucking fallen in love with it completely. She's gone fucking ballistic for it. And I'm starting to wonder, maybe it's as simple as the fact that I've just... Oh, that's not... There we go. Maybe it's literally just as simple as... Maybe I've just grown out of it. Maybe it's not for me anymore. But upon reflection, there are some glaring issues that I have with the game. I think it's gorgeous. I think deep down it's got Animal Crossing at its core, and that's fantastic. But it has some major flaws that after 6 months you'd kind of expect to be ironed out by now. I did write down all the points that I had, but I'm currently got my finger on the accelerator. Foot, sorry. Have a look. I should point out that in those 60 hours, I feel like I've unlocked everything. I've unlocked the shop. I don't know if there's any like additional upgrades to the shop that there already are. I've unlocked Town Hall. I've unlocked terraforming, which we'll go into in a bit. I obviously haven't dug up all the fossils or caught all the fish, because it's only been 3 months and the fish and bugs rotate as they tend to. But let's start from like the very beginning of the game, because at the very beginning you start off on an island and you basically have pretty much nothing around you. There's no shops, there's no museum, and you have to work towards that. Now, in the case of the shops, I think that's fine, but the museum, for me at least, is like a core part of the game. It's what I consider the thing to work towards. Basically, you catch fish and you catch bugs and you dig up fossils and you can donate them to the museum. But when you start the game, you don't have a museum, so you catch all these fish and bugs and there's nowhere to put them. But you have to... It's been 3 months. It's been 3 months, so it's a bit weird. But I think you have to give fish to Tom Nook, the raccoon who sells you the ticket to the island getaway. And after you've given a certain amount of fish and bugs to him, he'll call up... I can't remember his name. Call up Blathers, the owl who runs the museum. Give him a call, and he'll join your island. But even after he's joined your island, he's only in a tent. He's not in an actual museum. So to get the actual museum, you have to then donate more fish. And after a certain point, he'll stop accepting fish and bugs and be like, oh, well, I'm going to build the museum next. And then you have to wait another day while the museum is built, until the museum is finally built. Now, there's a concept in Animal Crossing called time traveling, because the game requires a lot of like day-to-day waiting. You do certain things in the morning, and then oh no, I pressed the completely wrong button. Didn't even indicate. Fuck. Oh, that's a lot of money. Whoops. Sorry. Where was I before I crashed? So you donate to the museum, but it takes like 3, not in-game days. It takes 3 actual days until you can get the museum, which is like one of the main reasons you play the game. To catch the seasonal bugs and fish and donate them to the museum. It takes 3 days to get to that, and no, I think I was talking about time traveling, wasn't I? There's a concept called time traveling where you change the system clock ahead a day to basically cheat the system into thinking that a day has passed, and that is the only thing that I ever time traveled for. I didn't time travel for anything else. I only time traveled to get the museum. because it just seems ridiculous that such a key part of the game would be not there, be completely out of the game. It just seems really weird. I was even like slightly worried that there wouldn't even be a museum at one point. It just seems odd that they would gate that off for 3 days if you manage to do all the donations and so on. It just seems like a weird thing to gate behind a waiting time. I mean, there's things in Animal Crossing where you do have to wait, like you have to wait for your house to be built or for a new upgrade to the store, and that makes sense. But the museum to me was like a key part of the game, so I don't know why they gate that. So in this new Animal Crossing, you can craft stuff, and I love a game with crafting. I like gathering resources and crafting things. So you can craft various types of furniture and so on, and that's all well and good. But the other thing you craft is tools. The classic tools that you use in Animal Crossing, like the fishing rod, the bug net, the axe, the shovel, and so on. And while I'm not opposed to like crafting those items and upgrading them, what I am opposed to is something that's carried over from my complaints with Breath of the Wild, which I probably posted that video a year ago. But the items break, which I'm not necessarily opposed to, like item durability or tool durability or so on. What I am opposed to is not giving the player some way to monitor the durability of an item and essentially fix it. Like Minecraft has item durability, but I think it does it really well, in that you can observe how when your item is about to break, so you're never really surprised by it. Whereas in Animal Crossing, if you're say hitting a rock with an axe with a shovel rather, to get like resources or money, that axe will just suddenly break out of nowhere. You'll never know. It won't give you any. Even in Breath of the Wild, at least they give you some sort of like some sort of indication that your item's about to break. But they don't do that in Animal Crossing. It just breaks out of nowhere. And the early game tools break constantly. Just consistently. And it probably wouldn't be a problem if you could craft more than one at once. Maybe for items that don't stack. Like, I don't know if I can go that way, guy. Okay, we're going to cross a couple of lanes now. Oh no, I gotta go that way. Whoops. Like non-stacking items, I kind of understand if you can't create more than one at a time. But you can do that in Minecraft. If you put, enough items in a row, you can create multiples at once, quickly. Whereas within Animal Crossing, you have to go to a crafting table. You have to select the item in the crafting menu, and then you have to press A. Very sorry. Got a bit of a coughing fit there for some reason. Anyway, so you go into the you go into the menu, you craft the item. You have to watch a cutscene of it being crafted. And it takes a few. It's not slow. You can attempt to skip past it. But crafting multiple items is an absolute fucking pain. Like, for example, I'm still coughing. Fucking choking on cider. Is this how I die? For example, I was trying to catch a tuna because it was the last month to catch them, and so I needed to. And you can only catch them in one specific point of the map. It's not like in the old games where you could just see, oh, there's a big fish in the ocean. I'm gonna catch that. That might be a tuna. No, you have to catch it on like you have to catch it on like a pier. And even then, other fish can spawn at the pier. So I wanted to craft a bunch of fish bait, which you can now make, which I think is good. So I crafted a bunch of so to craft some bait, you have to collect clams that you can find under the sand, which is fine. You can collect a whole bunch of them. But to craft fish bait, you have to click for each individual fish, each individual bag of fish bait that you want to make. Instead of having a thing that says, "Oh, how many of these would you like to craft?" It's no, you have to craft them one at a time. You have to go into the menu. You have to click you have to click on the item that you want to craft. You have to then click A. You have to then skip through the cutscene of crafting, and then it's crafted one at a time. I was doing this like 25 times. I was just sitting there, mashing the A button just to craft 25 of these fucking things, and it took forever. It took me 3 days to catch that tuna, by the way. My RNG is fucking garbage. Every like fucking evening, I would sit down. I would farm for fish bait. Sit there spamming the fucking A button. Sit at the edge of the pier and hope to catch a goddamn tuna. And they're annoyingly rare. And also on top of that, hard to catch. Which doesn't make it much easier. Ooh, fuck. And in amongst that, obviously, I had to keep oh, shit. Uh-oh. I've wedged. And in amongst that time, I obviously had to keep fucking making new fishing rods, because the other ones would break. Oh, come on. Oh, no. I'm stuck. There we go. I'm free. But yeah, I'd have to keep crafting new fishing rods because the other fishing rods would break, and then I'd have to keep crafting more fish bait over and over again, spamming the fucking A button. After a while, my thumb actually started to hurt. I was hitting that A button so much that it just became painful. And like I said in the last video, at that point, it just doesn't become fun. It's no longer fun. Why bother? So I think the best thing to do would be compare it to the previous game, because surely if you're making games in a series, you should be aiming to build upon what the previous game introduces. Game Freak. So the last game, New Leaf, was probably the point where I started realizing that maybe I'd have grown out of Animal Crossing, but I still put in a decent amount of time into that. So New Leaf sort of almost sowed the seeds for the amount of control you have over your town, because you start the game and you instead of just being a town member, you are the mayor of the town. You own the town. It still felt a bit restrictive, even as being mayor. Like you couldn't choose where villagers' houses go, even though you are the fucking mayor. But you can do that in this new game, which is great. Especially if you want to like create a certain little area. And you didn't really have a lot of power over who joined your town either, which you can kind of do now with stuff like amiibo cards and searching for villagers on island trips and so on. But in New Leaf, felt like it had way more content. Honestly, it felt like it was a full game from the start. Whereas this doesn't feel as full as the old games. What I mean by that, say, like, let's talk about the NPCs, for example. The NPCs you have in this game, you've got Tom Nook, you've got the Nooklings, you've got Able Sisters show up. Eventually, Kix shows up. You've got Red, who was only just, well, I say only just, it was actually a month ago, who was introduced in a DLC patch. You've got, that's kind of it, really. Blathers and Celeste shows up every now and again. But in New Leaf, all these like downloadable fucking characters are already in there. Red shows up fairly regularly. Gracie shows up. She doesn't seem to be anywhere in New Horizons. Who else? Katrina, I think her name was. She was the fortune teller. She's gone. Brewster, big loss. I think Brewster's a great character. I love Brewster's Roost. I especially love the music. I think it's phenomenal. That's probably one of the best music tracks in the entire game. Brewster's gone. Tortimer's gone, but that's probably because he died. Captain's a weird one because he should be in. I always kind of figured he should be in all games, because he's usually the guy who drives the vehicle that you use in game to enter the town, like well, I suppose the first game had a train in it. Like in, oh shit, oh god, oh Jesus. Uh-oh, am I wedged? Oh no. Oh no, am I stuck? Oh, am I actually stuck? Uh-oh, uh-oh. I think I might actually be stuck. Got so invested in talking about Animal Crossing, I got completely wedged. No, I'm not stuck. What the fuck? What am I stuck on? Where's this hitbox? Come on! No, I'm just gonna keep reversing until I get out of this mess. So, Captain, yeah. You know, City Folk, you arrive in Captain's taxi. In Let's Go to the City, we arrive on, I think it was a bus that Captain was driving. In New Leaf, you actually arrive on a train, but he is still in there. He is what you used to go to the island in that game. He's just not in this game. He's not there. You arrive on an airplane, but Captain's not there. Captain's not. He's not the one who pilots it. Instead, it's some dodos, which is fine. I think the dodos are funny. It's a funny concept of dodos flying. I'm stuck. Get out of this goddamn bind. If it kills me. I'm not even stuck on anything. It's ridiculous. Captain's gone. Honestly, I can't really remember any other NPCs at this point. I mean, there are some new ones. There's like Flicken and CJ or whatever it's called. There we go. Now we're free. Now we're cooking. On the road again. Nope, that's windscreen wipers. I should not be allowed to drive, especially not while under the influence. Oof. Yeah, shut up. Oh, good. Where was I? Before that ridiculous segue. Yeah. But like all these NPCs, they've said like, oh well, they'll be coming in DLC, and that to me makes me wonder, like, what the fuck was the delay for? This game doesn't feel full. It doesn't feel like it has enough like content to keep me coming back. Like, there's these events that they keep running, but I don't like. That's an event that you do once and then it's over. Like, the first event that came out was like a special island tour where you got to do a map, but... got to do a maze, sorry. But that was it. Once it's done, it's done. Rover was there, which was nice, but... it just doesn't feel like a meaty enough thing to keep me coming back. I suppose Red was going to be that, because Red's supposed to come to your town on his boat. Is supposed to come to your island, sorry, on his boat, and sell you, you possibly counterfeit paintings. But after the update, and I saw him once, he never fucking came back. Maybe that's just the bad RNG at play again, but he never came back to my island. So I just felt like there was no reason for me to come back. Like, there's the daily things you can do, like finding the 4 fossils and hitting stones and whatever, and talking to your villagers. But I just didn't feel much of a drive to keep playing. It didn't. I felt like I'd done everything. By the time I'd finally unlocked the ability to terraform, I felt like I'd already done everything. And let's talk about the fucking terraforming, shall we? I feel like this was a feature that they bigged up quite a bit, that looked really cool when it was announced. The ability to change the layout of your island, to change like where the rivers are, where the cliffs go, and so on. But it feels to me like it wasn't made for mass for like huge scale. Almost finish this can for like large scale terraforming. I feel like it was built for like to just like tidy things up, because the UI or lack thereof is an absolute fucking pain to use. Like, you don't get a UI, you just get given a shovel and told to fucking go at it. You can't see where you're supposed to be aiming. The process of chipping away block by block feels like an absolute pain. And I did a lot of terraforming, not gonna lie, but I turned the music off for this. What the hell? I did a lot of terraforming, but after a while, it just felt like an absolute fucking chore. I turned music off. I don't know why music's back on again. Anyway, we're in Birmingham. It's like if you want to get rid of a giant cliff, you have to do it inch by inch. If you want to put down a path, a pathing for like to break down cliffs, I understand. You know, it shouldn't be a mass process to break down an entire cliff. But when you're putting down a path, which is one of the features that I was really excited about, because I used to put down paths using patterns before, which was also a pain. But to put down paths, you have to do it one bit at a time. You have to press A to lay down the path, and you press A again to lay down the next bit of the path. You can't, and it's not even like you can hold down the button to lay down a continuous path. You can't do that. You have to lay down a path, move a bit forward, lay down the next bit of path, move a bit forward, lay down the next bit of path. Same for if you want to remove a path, you have to remove the path, move a bit forward, remove a path, move a bit forward. It's an absolute fucking pain, and it doesn't make any sense why it's built like that. But that's Nintendo in a nutshell. Is they make such great games, but there's always like the one thing that just seems to be completely fucked up about it. They're always so close at making like the perfect video game, and then they always fuck it up in the end, in the tiniest of ways. It's so frustrating, so absolutely frustrating. I'm gonna play it safe for this one. Oh, the music's still going. Can we stop the music, please? Thank you. There's always that thing with Nintendo, is there's always just a little thing that seems completely that they've completely fucked up. It's ridiculous. Oh, it's so frustrating. Let's go some fragile cargo. Why not? It's like, it's such an easy thing. Just allow me to hold a button and just push forward to create a path. That's it. That's all I want. I don't want to see a cutscene of me putting down the path every single fucking time and then having to move forward slightly and then move the fucking thing. Especially when I've got a fucking Switch with Joy-Con drift. That's another fucking video for another time. The Switch 3 years later or however fucking long it's been. The fact that it's so fucking poorly made that the joystick just drifts on its own. It just decides to go its own fucking way. I'm not saying that would really affect my enjoyment of I'm not saying that would really like affect my overall enjoyment of the terraforming tool, because it still just doesn't feel what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't feel user friendly. It's not. Maybe they didn't expect people to go fucking whole hog on it and just delete every cliff they've got. Maybe they only expected it to be like tidying up certain areas, certain bits. But even then, you gotta think. You gotta think about what your you gotta brainstorm like what you think your what your user base is going to do with the tools that you give them. Why am I looking at this one? I shouldn't be looking at this one. I should be looking at Freight Market. I don't know. I'm getting angry over a children's game. That's the problem here. Let's go with that one actually, because that's probably a short one. That's all it is. That's all this is really. It's just a mid-20s man getting angry over a baby game. A game for babies. A game for children. A game made for children. It's clearly not made with me in mind. It's not made for the type of person who would go completely ballistic and completely renovate their entire island into a desert. People do that, and people enjoy that, and that's fine. I don't want the moral of this video being, I hate this game and you should too. That's not what I want. That's not what I want to say, because there are people who love there are people who this is their favorite Animal Crossing game of all time, and that's fine. I'm happy for you. I really am, but. There's just so many little things that fuck it up for me, which is weird because Breath of the Wild has like so many little things that are wrong with it, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. And I still have other things to say. Like the pull of Animal Crossing to me is the feeling of like. You're in a town. You're living in this town. You're contributing to this town's like Stardew Valley. You know. You live in this town, but you're also contributing to its success or whatever. And in a way, that's actually almost exemplified in New Horizon, because it's an entire island that you are basically decorating and reforming to your specifications, but it doesn't feel like a town simulator anymore, you know, which is weird to say because it was never really advertised as such. It was literally advertised as an island getaway, but even then it doesn't feel like an island getaway. It feels like you're the owner of this town and you are responsible for its up and up, you know. You're responsible for it you're responsible for it. Sorry. You are responsible for turning it in from an island into a town, into a thriving community. I don't know. Maybe it's a bit overwhelming in that sense. Jesus, what's that? 2 minutes. No, I'm good. Maybe that is it. Maybe that is the problem. Maybe I'm just too overwhelmed by it. I mean, when I started terraforming, it did feel too overwhelming. Just how much what like the vision that I had for the island in my head requires a fuck ton of work, a fuck ton of terraforming work, and I didn't want to do that mainly because the terraforming was such a pain in the ass to do, which made it feel like more of a chore. And that's all it became. It's just a bunch of chores to do daily that I didn't feel like I was getting anything out of. And like on the brief subject of like usability and like thinking how your customers want to use it, the way to visit the visiting other people is just such an utter shit show. Like, there's a system in it called like the best friends system, where if someone on your friends list has their island open, you can just visit them. You can go onto into the airport and just click on the friends list and say, I want to visit this person. But for some fucking reason that clearly only Nintendo has the idea of, that it doesn't like link to the friends list on your system. Oh god, no. No. You have to visit this person. You have to go through the fucking like connection code. You have to enter this code just to visit someone who's already on your Switch friends list. And only then can you add them to your in-game friends list. It's a completely separate list for no fucking reason. And then when you want to go to someone's island, you don't just show up. You don't just have a little quick loading screen and you're in the island, as every other fucking online game has. No, you have to sit through a fucking minute-long cutscene of you landing on the fucking island with the same shitty fucking pun every time. And it's not just a hassle for those visiting either. It's a hassle for the fucking person hosting, because they have to go through a minute-long cutscene as well for no fucking reason. Like, why can't I just go about my business while someone's joining my island? It's ridiculous. It's so bafflingly user unfriendly. I'm sure there's a better word for that. That it just. Does Nintendo play their own games? I mean, really? Does no one think, this seems like a fucking hassle, maybe we should make it a little bit easier for our customers to do this? It's ridiculous. This is... Again, I'm getting frustrated over fucking baby games. It's like getting frustrated over Kirby Star Allies because there's barely any content in it for a $60 quid game, which I am annoyed about, but I'm not going to go into it now. This is what happens when I drink. I get angry at nothing. Right stick click. Just need to calm down. Need to relax, you know. This is what I'm supposed to play this game for, relaxing. No, that's decoupling. Completely forgot how to play this fucking game. Yeah, just do that. Hey, cheers. There's just so many little things that feel completely against the user that it just boggles the mind. Like, just allow me to enter, like, once you've done the loading, I don't need to see the cutscene every time. Maybe like the first time I join the island, but not every time. And the other poor person on the other end doesn't have to sit there and wait for someone to join them. God knows how you can deal with like having multiple people on your island at a time. And anyway, once you're even on the island, there's not a lot to do, really. You join the island. You might look around and enjoy the work that someone else has put into them, but you're essentially just doing the same stuff that you would do on your own island. You're catching fish, you're collecting fruit, and so on. There's nothing to do, at least in New Leaf. Well, it is in New Leaf, when you went to an island with someone else, you could do like various little mini games, like chase the fucking remote control car or go through a maze or whatever. In this, there's just nothing to do. Nothing interesting to do with that other person. It just seems like a feature that was added just out of the blue. Like, oh shit, we've got to put it in a multiplayer mode. Just shit out something, and we'll call it a day. What was the delay for? What were they adding? What was so important that they had to delay the game for like half a year? It just felt like they just pushed this game out with barely any content in it, besides like the basic level of Animal Crossing that they possibly could, like catching fish and decorating houses and so on. They're like, oh, we got this basic Animal Crossing game, we'll just throw that out there, they'll fucking buy it up. I don't regret buying the game. I had my 60 hours, I had my fun for 60 hours, but I just don't feel like there's anything to come back to. You know? It doesn't feel like a living, breathing town that I can say, oh yeah, this is my friend. I can't even remember the names of the animals. I remember Bianca. She's cool. It's just sad, really. You know? You buy a game from a series you really enjoy and it just doesn't... You just expect it to be better than the previous one and it never is. I get the same feeling with Pokemon, honestly. That series just seems to keep getting worse. And other people are enjoying it and that's fine. But, you know... This is a better episode because I'm actually getting drunk now. I'm actually drinking something with actual percentage in it, instead of just like a few percentage punch. But again, it's just a mid-20s... That wasn't me. It's just a guy in his mid-20s getting angry at a game for children. A games company that make games for children. Did I have fucking anything else on my list of things to talk about? Not really. I don't really think too much about this. Maybe I should start thinking about positives. You know? Looking for the positives. Like, it's at the base level, it's still an enjoyable experience. You know, minor issues aside, you know, it's still relatively fun to fish. It's even better to decorate now. They've made decorating so much easier. Like in the old version, you just put an item down, you had to push and pull it along. In this game, I think they've taken the mechanics from the Happy Home Designer game on the 3DS, where you just literally just you given a UI and you say I want this to go here and this to go here. You can move it around, turn it around. You can stick it on walls. That's really good. The only issue being I've never been much of a designer. I don't have a fucking creative bone in my goddamn body. So you tell me to go design something, I will find some way to fuck it up. My Minecraft buildings are all fucking square and ugly. My Terraria buildings are all just boxes with the bare minimum in them. I'm not a designer. Maybe that's why I don't like this one. This game is just a combination of Happy Home Designer and Animal Crossing. It's more focused on... Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the reason I prefer New Leaf to this. It's just this game feels like more of a game to design things, because you can put furniture outside now, which means you can decorate the entire island. You kind of do that in New Leaf, but it was very limited as to what you could actually put outside, and even then, you couldn't really put any stuff close to each other for no fucking reason other than just bleh. Other than just Nintendo being Nintendo again. But any furniture you can put inside a house can be put outside your house. You can make gardens. You can make areas. You can make like my sister was making a fairground. You can do all sorts of stuff with like waterfalls and so on. And I did a little bit of that. I dabbled in that, but I it's just something that doesn't. I'm not great at that. And that seems to be the main point of this game, is you gather materials to craft furniture, and you can put that furniture in your house. You build up your house to unlock more places to put furniture. And I mean, that is kind of the main series staple. That is kind of one of the biggest things you can do in this series, but it was never really something that I got very much into, which is a shame. No, any game where you give me a creative freedom of where to put stuff, I will make a fucking unholy mess. I was very excited about the settlement building in Fallout 4, and I ended up just not doing that because I have no creativity whatsoever. I'm just rambling, honestly. I think I picked another mission that's too long. I'm sure it'll finish soon. It's a shame. It really is, but it'll just be it'll just be a series that I don't really dabble in anymore. That's fine. I'll just add it to the list of video game series that I don't really give a shit about anymore. Pokemon being one of them. Maybe I'm just an old piece of shit who just shouldn't be playing these games anymore because it's just not for him. It's a shame. But as you get older, you expect games from this game series from Uncharted to keep evolving, because other games do it. Mario's done it, from 2D to 3D. I grew up with Galaxy, and then we got Odyssey. I didn't grow up with Zelda, but I can see the big leaps that series has made in terms of features and so on, to the point where we got one of my favorite games of all time. Oh fuck. Okay, you get no. Okay, never mind. Oh shit. Sorry. It just sucks to see a series that you have attachment to and just drift away from. I would love to enjoy this version of Animal Crossing, but maybe it's just not for me anymore. Maybe it's just not for me. That sucks. Anyway, I'm gonna come up with better subjects for these rambling podcasts, if you can even call it that. And once that buddy of mine in the States has got some better internet connection, God knows he's not going to get it if he's in the States, then maybe we'll be able to sit down and record some co-hosted stuff together. Probably some longer ramblings, because this is just me rambling on about fucking nothing that matters, nothing that really matters in the grand scheme of things. But time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. Pointless shit that you're passionate about is not pointless shit. I think that's a good point. Anyway, I'm hungry. I literally just got home from work, sat down, cracked open a can of Thatcher's, sat down to get angry and ramble on about a fucking game for children. Ain't that just my life? Getting angry at nothing. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to arrange to get that Dark Souls discussion done, because I really think I do really want to make that. But for now, I'm just gonna park up and sign off. Can't park for shit, so I'm just gonna go with the easy one. So yeah, let me know what you think about New Horizons. How I'm wrong. I'm not allowed my own opinion, and how I should shut up. and just talk about just talk about why Animal Crossing New Horizons is good. Not allowed to not enjoy something, even though the features are clearly not made for humans to use. I finished that can. Oh. So as usual, don't drink and drive. I'm a professional, apparently. Next time, God knows what I'll be talking about. Maybe I just shouldn't mention what I'm going to talk about next time, and then it'll be a fucking surprise. Who knows? I've been Retro J, and I will see you next time.